YouTube, welcome back to Verbal One, and I'm your host, Big Verb, aka Scale_Nation on Twitter. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow once you get in the building. Hit the notification bell so you can always be on point about what's going on in Verbal One and in Florida sports. This week we talking specifically about the Miami Dolphins concluding the New England Patriots playoff streak. Since 2008, the New England Patriots have been attending the playoffs. This year, they won't be. Okay, the Miami Dolphins made it into that tour, leading the Miami Dolphins into the stadium here in Miami, Florida, bringing in the Patriots. We know the Patriots aren't at full strength. We know Hightower didn't come through. We know that it's a lot of guys that opted out this season due to the crazy pandemic that we're dealing with. But the Miami Dolphins did what needed to be done with the New England Patriots. Now, it was a couple passes Tua made this week that were a little iffy, but it was a sound game. Devontae Parker did not play. Jakeem Grant did not play. Now, if you check out my last videos, I was talking about specifically how I felt Flores was benching those guys, like basically saying if you don't want to show up for Tua, then we don't need you out there, okay? But what we've seen this week is that these guys must really be dealing with injuries. They did not play; they were scratches. Isaiah Ford returned home and did get an active for this week's game. He played a lot, and he played significant in the disguise and the appearance of the offense. Of course, Lynn Bowden Jr., like I mentioned last week. What the hell was that? Last week was a real big contributor in the offense. He made a lot of plays, he was sound, and he did not drop the ball. The Miami Dolphins have Matt Hollis, a receiver that I spoke about from the University of North Carolina. And they also had Galloway. Galloway has been released by the Miami Dolphins. The former receiver for the University of Florida, also drafted by the Cleveland Browns, was released by the Dolphins. His role with the Dolphins was moderate. He didn't do much. He had a little punt return duty. He also made a couple catches here and there. He converted a strong third down in the play. But this just wasn't the place for him. Patience was something that he didn't have. I believe next year he would have had more of a prominent role if he would have been able to pick up the playbook and been more active in the practice game. I do believe Flores when he say that practice is where you make your play, you make your role, and you do play. But he just didn't ever had that excitement about him with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, it could have been a number of reasons why they decided to part ways with him, but I just didn't see his role beginning to be significant. This week, I'm pretty sure coming up, we going to Las Vegas on a Saturday night game. I will be playing against the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a playoff game, and that's coming from the coach's mouth. Flores said it out of his mouth. This week will be a playoff atmosphere. We have to win out. If we don't win out, we need help by other teams, and that's not how the Dolphins seem to be operating. They want to have their future in their own hands and make that play. So this week also we was able to get a 100-yard rusher. Ahmed, the running back who backed up Gaskins at the University of Washington, is backing him up here in the Miami Dolphins, and he was able to put up 107 yards. Also, Breida was able to contribute. Breida had 86 yards. He's coming around. It looks like Chan Gailey's finding a way to open up the run game. He's finding a way to make the Dolphins a run team when it's time, when it's cold, when the playoff come, when it's time to put the ball inside the belly of a beast and get those short yardage plays, and he's able to design some type of run play. It looked to me like they never were worried about being able to run the ball. They decided to come out with the run game, and it's been a prominent thing. They were able to almost get 200-yard rushes, as I mentioned previously. This upcoming week, they'll be playing against Josh Jacobs. He's a pretty serious running back. Tua knows him well. They both shared the backfield at the University of Alabama. But with what was able to be done this week, the Dolphins was able to shut down the run game by the Patriots. Cam Newton was a guy that ran the ball on us in week one. He was able to make impact with the run game. We weren't really afraid of his passing game, just like we weren't afraid week one. Xavier Howard was able to cause a fumble. He also had 5 tackles in the game. Emmanuel Ogba was able to get a sack. He had a couple games where he hadn't got one. That happens in the league. And then, the Miami Dolphins defense again held Tua down. Tua wasn't able to put much points up in the first half. He threw an interception in the opening drive to Josh Jackson, another great cornerback from the University of Vanderbilt. He plays for the New England Patriots, and he has 8 interceptions. He's up there with X-Man for interceptions this season. He was able to get one in X-Man's building. Big time player, big time pickup by the Patriots. He'll get better. Stephon Gilmore went out with an injury for the Patriots. Those guys, they'll be back strong next year. They have a lot of guys on the roster. Trust me, this year was a developmental year for a lot of guys like the linebacker Uche for the University of Michigan. Belichick's developing those guys. He's getting those guys ready. He had a couple rookies that he just ripened them. Those guys are coming in. They're going to fill Van Noy's spot that he left open. They're going to fill all the positions that need to be filled, and they'll be sound players. They'll have pretty strong snaps under their belt for the Patriots, but this year is not their year. Patriots fans, this year is not your year, okay? The Miami Dolphins is the second team in the division right now behind the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are currently sitting at the division champs. They clinched that on a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were able to clinch that, and then they were able to follow that up on Saturday with a victory to really slam the door and mathematically clinch it. So the Miami Dolphins, they're going to take that wild card spot, and that's where they sit now. It's possible that the Texans, who own the Dolphins' first pick, the Dolphins were able to claim their pick in a trade that they made last year with Laramie Tunsil. If you look at my old videos, I spoke on that. And the Dolphins could possibly have the third pick and also make the playoffs. So, Chris Greer does deserve credit for that. He does deserve credit for what he's done, the decisions he's made to put the Dolphins in the position that they're in now. Tua's coming around. He's sound. He's not a finished product. He's not completely where they would need him to be. But the future's looking bright, and Chris Greer has put the Dolphins in position this year with 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. To be a solid team. And when you have positioning, and when you have equity, and when you have players that you're investing in, and you don't have a lot of money spent at every position, and you're not trying to make the biggest splash in the free agency, you put yourself in a good position. And we've learned that. It's a structural thing that's being done here. We got a big game coming up against the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Dolphins are going to have to continue to run the ball. Another thing I want to talk about and get into deeply is the other teams that are jostling for that last playoff spot. We're right now behind the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are as a 6th seed, which is the other wild card spot. The NFL has only given one, which is the number 1 seed, a bye week. So that means that everyone will play. The 2 seed will play the 7th. The 3 will play the 6th. The 4 will play the 5. Those teams will play in that first week of the playoffs. And, it'll continue on with the number 1 seed joining the fun after their bye week with the first week of the playoffs. We still have a couple more games. The Dolphins have to play the Las Vegas Raiders, and they also have to play the champs, the division champs this year, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills might be, resting up or things like that. You never know. They might be, getting themselves 100% ready, because the Dolphins and the Bills might be playing each other in the first week of the playoffs. You just never really know. The Steelers, they hold the 2nd seed behind the Chiefs, who hold the 1st seed. And things can go a lot of different ways, because, the Steelers are only 1 game ahead of Buffalo, and Buffalo owns the tiebreaker. So, as a Dolphin fan right now, we're sitting back and we're looking at the players that we do have and the players that we expect to make plays in the playoffs. And that can be a large amount of players. And the Dolphins being able to run the ball now is a great thing at this time of year. And teams don't really have film on what they'll try to do running. I'm sure this is a copycat league, so I'm sure all the teams have seen pretty much Chan Gailey's scheme and what he's going to try to do to run the ball. With the plethora of running backs that we've used, it's the sky's the limit of who we can use. And seeing that the 3rd string back at 100 yards this week, Tua has a lot of support. The Dolphins have a lot of a lot of depth because of the injuries that they're facing, and the players that have had to step up in these times. And things are looking good. With the depth that they've gotten, with Isaiah Ford coming back, with Lynn Bowden Jr. playing well at wide receiver, Jakeem Grant being a player in the rotation, and Devontae Parker pretty much being our best receiver, not having Mike Gesicki at tight end is going to be a tough pill to swallow, because he's such a strong player in the red zone. He's such a tall player. He's such a weapon in the end zone area as far as scoring touchdowns for the Miami Dolphins. But I do believe that the Dolphins will find a way to make plays and make up for missing a target such as Mike Gesicki. And, as you saw this week, Chan Gailey had to use a little trickery to get the 2-point conversion. Tua will make, strong decisions in running the ball, and Tua ran the ball in 2 times this week. Those were his touchdowns. He was pretty consistent with the ball, accurate as always. He started the game off 6 for 6. He was just on fire. So as a Dolphin fan, you could be excited and expect Xavier Howard to win the Defensive Player of the Year. Expect the Dolphins to go into Las Vegas and bring that run game and stop their run game and come out of Las Vegas with a dub and go into Buffalo and be prepared for whatever they may bring and be prepared to take a tough battle into Buffalo and win. So we're just gonna continue to keep pushing the Dolphins, keep being a big fan, keep logging in the Verbal Warning, keep me locked in, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Verbal Warning, Big Verb. Salute.